Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live session of Australia Immigration Matters for the month of April. Hope you guys are doing good. Please comment in the live chat. Please comment in the live chat to confirm whether you can hear me well. Whether you can hear me well. So we will be waiting for a few minutes so that everyone joins in. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. So let's begin. So before taking your questions, I would like to touch upon the topic of the possible revision in the points test, which Australia is planning to implement in the coming months. So basically, what we saw in this week was that Australian government has proposed the changes in the EOI points test, about which they discussed, about which they introduced in the migration strategy, the document which they released in the month of December 2023. So as per that document, they already they already informed everyone that they will be coming up with a discussion paper later in this year. And as per the discussion paper, they will be asking for the consultations and opinions of the public and the stakeholders and the industry and business regarding all the proposed changes in the EOI points test. So we will be quickly talking about it, and obviously we will be taking the questions of you guys related to this hot topic. So mainly what Australian government thinks is that the current points test system is not serving the purpose, is not serving the industry, is not serving the market. What happens is that the people who are currently onshore and offshore are being treated in a different way. So there are certain factors about which they want to make a few improvements. They want to make a few changes, and their entire purpose of making the changes is for the applicants and is for the immigrants to contribute to the Australian economy as per the demand of the industry and their businesses. So how they are making the changes, how they are proposing the changes are related to a few factors. They are talking about the English language, number one. So what they are proposing is that they want to give more weighting to higher English language points. So currently, what we have are there are three slots: the competent English and the proficient English, and then the superior English level. So it is anticipated that they might be giving more weighting, or they might be introducing more slabs of English language scores in the coming changes, so that the higher English language score people can get better points contribution in their EOI. So this is their first proposal about the change. The second proposal is about the education level. So right now, what happens is that if someone is a PhD degree holder, he or she gets the 20 points in the EOI. Whereas with master's and bachelor degree, you get 15 points, and with the other degrees lower than the master and bachelor, you get the 10 points. Now, what they say is that if someone with a bachelor degree or a master's degree can go to Australia and go for a professional year program of 1 year, he or she can be equal in points with a PhD degree holder, whereas the effort to get those 5 points for a PhD student or PhD degree holder and professional year program holder is very different. Similarly, someone can study in a regional area of Australia and get extra 5 points, whereas those extra 5 points are very difficult to earn for a PhD degree holder. So this is where they want to create some balance. They want to create some fairness. Other than that, what they are looking to create a difference, create a change and improvement is with respect to the experience. So right now, what happens is that the onshore applicants are getting more number of points at the same number of years of experience. For example, someone onshore, someone 10 points, whereas the same experience earned outside of Australia can give you only 5 points. So they are also thinking about creating a balance between the experience years points contribution to the EOI with respect to the onshore and offshore. So we might be thinking about it. We might be testing that this is already fair that working in Australia should have a higher weighting, but obviously they want to create a balance so that everyone who is currently working in Australia does not have the all the benefits, and this should be a mix of benefits for outside and inside applicants. Other than that, they are thinking that the skilled occupation list Let me know if you can hear me. There was some technical issue. With respect to the feed. Let me know if it is fine now. Can you guys hear me and see me now? Okay, okay. So apologies, there have been some technical issues. So we are back online. So let's start with our questions. So I can see there are a lot of questions already. So Aditya Sharma is asking, what do you think will the weighting of partner skills assessment qualification and English language in the upcoming point test system? Kindly explain all the components. I think I have already touched upon this topic. So if you have guys, if you have listened to the answer which I have briefed in initially. So we will be discussing in the end at the end of the session. So stay tuned that how this EOI points test changes can impact anyone who is currently in the process of submitting an EOI or have already submitted the EOI. We will be discussing about that. So let's move to the next question. What about the change in English requirements for the primary applicant? I think there is no change yet. So if you have passed your English language test with even a competent level English, you get 0 points in your EOI, so you stay eligible. And for certain assessing authorities, you need English language test to be cleared prior to the skills assessment, and for some you just need to do it after. Let's take up the next one is from Aditya Sharma. What are the chances of removal or addition of occupation in the SOL? Which occupations are most likely to be removed and moved from one list to another? So we do not know about this. Most probably all the high in demand occupations, as we have seen in the invitation rounds, are going to stay in the occupation list. But obviously, we will be talking about the upgrade in the skilled occupation list in the coming months. I think by June or July, we will have a better idea. But until the changes are implemented, the existing system in the skilled occupation list will persist. Let's take up the next one. The next one is from Irfan Ahmad. Irfan Ahmad is saying, asking how to amend South Australia ROI if points have been increased. If I withdraw and lodge again after updating points, I may miss the queue as South Australia may take application as fresh. So yes, you cannot edit the South Australia ROI. So this is rule. This is their rule. So you have to withdraw the existing ROI, which takes around 24 hours, and then you have to submit a new one. So it doesn't matter much if your points are increasing. So obviously, the higher the points, the more the chances, and it has higher weighting as compared to the ROI submission date. So let's take up the next one is from Mehman Zuhaib. Sir, will they give points to 1 or 2 year experience? Some points in upcoming point system. Currently, they are giving 5 points for 3 years. So yes, we are talking about the same, that they want to create a balance between the onshore and offshore experience level and the contribution of points. So currently, they are not giving any points to offshore applicants with having less than 3 years of experience, while giving 5 points to the onshore applicants with 1 year of experience. So they might be coming up with some balance for this. We will see. So currently we do not know, but we will see about. We will think about it. So let's take up the next one is from Chaitanya. Chaitanya is asking. So Chaitanya is asking, GSM points test was revised historically as well. What kind of cutover transition plan can we expect for the upcoming changes in terms of EOI validity based on your previous experience? So yes, there have been changes in the previous in many years ago as well, but these changes are a lot of changes. So what we can see is that transition plan can we expect for the upcoming changes in terms of EOI validity is still 2 years, and it has been 2 years from all has always been. But currently, currently as per our experience, the points test will be revised in a different way because there is a political stance as well. So what we can see is that they will take like 4 to 6 months to make the changes. Let's take up the next one is from Mehman Zuhaib. So I have positive skill assessment as mechanical engineer, only qualification assessed. Sir, I will complete my 3 year experience and I have to again assess my experience. So for engineers, the Engineer Australia, you have the opportunity to get your relevant skilled employment assessment directly from the department and the state as well. So it doesn't matter much if you, even if you have all the documents, all the employment documents, then obviously you can directly submit those employment documents to your during the nomination and visa lodgement stage. So to get the positive skill assessment of experience is not necessary for engineers. So let's take up the next one. It's from again, it's from, okay, it's from Chaitanya. Ozzy has ever invited in December 22 through 189. Is it fair not to expect that no 189 will happen this FY, so that things get back to normalcy? Okay. So the question is that is what there have been 189 round in the month of December 23, and that was totally focused towards the medical and education sector. So we are expecting that there could be another 189 round in the month of May, but education sector. We can see that maybe they will be making many changes, but obviously they want to reduce the overall net migration level as well. So we do not know how they will be coming up with the planning levels. We will have a better idea once the budget is out. So let's take up the next one. Is from Mehman Zohaib again. Sir, I have applied for 476 visa and positive skill assessment as mechanical engineer, and now I am applying for TRA. Okay. Okay. Let me check the connection first. I think there have been some technical issue today. Apologies for that. Let me get it corrected. Let me quickly get it corrected, and then I will resume the. I will resume. I will resume. Okay. Please confirm if the feed is okay now. Please confirm if the feed is okay now. Okay. Please confirm. So I will then continue. Okay. I hope it will work fine. There have been some connectivity issue over here. I'm not sure why, but it has been. So okay, I think we can resume. We can resume now. I think it will be okay. It will be okay in a while. I have reset the connectivity. Okay, so we can continue with the questions. So let's take up the next one. It's from um, vendor city walks. Is there going to be 189 round this FY, and will they include developer programmers? So I think we have already discussed about the 189 round. So they might be conducting 189 round in the month of May, but I would suggest that do not expect any non-priority occupations in the 189 round of this financial year. You can expect the non-priority occupations inclusion in the next financial year, but not sure whether in this financial year or not. Okay, so let's take up the next one. Is from Mohammed Junaid. Please share your observation about social worker occupation and its future in next 2 years, as I am starting this degree this year. Well, we have seen many invites for social workers and community workers and welfare workers in the last financial year and at the start of this financial year. There have been some delay in the invitations of social worker this later in this financial year. So, although this is one of the priority occupations, they always say that the healthcare, education, and the social services have been part of the priority and target sectors of the states for their nomination programs. But recently we haven't seen much invite for the social workers. So let's hope that they continue to do. We are not sure whether they will have much seats in the next financial year, but social worker will be part of the target sector in the next financial year as well. So I think you can pursue your study plan for the social worker. Let's take up the next one. It's from Jaspender Sandhu. So Jaspender, why you are asking why NSW is not giving an invitation to agricultural STEAM occupation? So yes, it's a very good question. So currently, what happens is that and at the start of the nomination program for this financial year, NSW clearly indicated that the agriculture sector is part of their target sector. But during the whole financial year, they didn't invite any agricultural sector occupation. So this is, although this is not a good sign. Um, uh, we hope that um they will start to consider this agriculture sector in the next financial year. But this financial year, they haven't sent much invites. Next one is from Chaitanya. With 30% higher pay for those who speak English very well, can we expect partner English competency also have a tiered structure similar to primary applicant? Yes, we have discussed, as we have discussed initially during the start of the session today. So we think that they might be coming up with the slabs for the they might be coming up for the slabs for this tiered structure for the secondary applicant as well. So let's see how it happens. So let's take up the next one. So let's take up the next one. It's from Hafsa Naveed. If one has got positive skills, positive assessment, if one has got positive assessment as ICT support engineer, now that we can apply for 3 ENSCO codes, should we go again to get better chances? Yes, I think let me know if the connection is okay. I'm not sure what's going on today. It's really frustrating now. Can you please guys confirm? Anyone please confirm that the audio and video both are working fine? Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the feedback. I am not sure. There has been some issues, but obviously, okay. We should not waste time. Let's continue. So yes. So Hafsa, you asked about the ENSCO codes. Um, you can go with additional ENSCO occupations. Clearly, you can go with the additional ENSCO occupations. Um, um, because if so, all depends upon your work experience profile. If the work experience profile and the JDs of your work experience are matching, then you can definitely go with that. Okay, so it all depends upon your work experience profile. So let's take up the next one. It's from okay. What are the chances for electronics engineer with 70 points, including a skilled partner for 491 next financial year? Well, to be honest, the chances are not good at 70 points for 491 for electronics engineer. We have seen the invitations of electronics engineer at 90 or 95 points for 190. So I think you need to work on your improving your points. We are talking about electronics engineer occupation. Let's take up the next one. It's from Yahya Javed Ahmed. Yahya is asking, I have a tourist visa. Once done with the assessment, I want to travel with wife and her graduation and apply PR onshore. So possible or not? So yes, you can do. One thing is that if you are on a tourist visa in Australia, uh, you can apply for the student visa of your wife, and then once you are onshore, you can definitely go for the PR onshore. That's not an issue. All depends upon your um, all depends on your EOI points for sure. So let's continue with that. So let's take up the next one is from the Apurbo Saha. Marketing specialist is on their under consultation category in skill categories. What does it mean, sir? Well, this means that, so we are talking about the SCOL, so CSOL. So the core skilled occupation list, they have invited the consultation with respect to the occupations list. They are coming up with the changes with respect to the skilled occupation list as well. But the list you are referring for the marketing specialist, in which your occupation is under consultation category, it means that they are inviting the opinions and suggestions of the industry experts and market, and also from the businesses, that whether marketing specialist should be part of the CSOL or not in the confirmed list. So you need to understand one thing is the CSOL is all about the employer sponsored visa category, not about the skilled occupation list. For the skilled occupation list, the Jobs and Skills Australia will come up with a separate list. We will talk about that in the coming months. So let's take up the next one is from Roshan Oli. Are they planning to change entire points experience? Well, yes, as per the news, they are trying to make the changes with respect to the major factors which we have discussed at the start of the session. So you can watch that part of the session to understand that. The next one is from Saqib Rahman. Saqib Rahman is asking, civil engineer with 14 years of experience submitted EOI to project or program administrator, but recent country education profile updation, now eligible for skill assessment as civil engineer or CPM. So Saqib, you should definitely, should I take assessment for civil engineer or CPM? So civil engineer and CPM both are better occupations, to be honest, with as compared to program or project administrator. So you should definitely think about getting your skills assessed as construction project manager. So because we have seen the construction project managers, CPMs, getting the invites at even at 75 or 80 points, whereas program and project administrators, you need to have more than 85 points for to get a possible invite for the subclass 190. So you should definitely go for the construction project managers. Let's take up the next one. It's from Evolve and Inspire. Basic question: are there any specific dates for EOI withdrawals? If we submit EOI and don't get the invitation, then do we need to submit EOI again after announcement? No, I think you will not need to submit the EOI again. So it all depends upon their how they will be going to implement the system, how they will be going to implement the changes with respect to the points test digitally. So once they will be announcing how the system will be upgraded, most probably your existing EOI points test will be upgraded, or the system will be updated automatically. Let's take up the next one is from Anjan Bandhari. Chances for 491 and 190 quota increase in XY. Well, all depends upon the budget, to be honest. So we will see that in the budget, that we will see that in the upcoming budget. If they will be coming up with the same planning levels, so most probably the total number of seats, the total number of allocations for the 190 and 491 will might remain the same in the next financial year as well. Let's take up the next one is from Dilpreet Singh. I'm living in WA and can I apply for EOI for other state? No. For as an onshore applicant of Western Australia, you are only eligible for Western Australia. You cannot submit EOI for other states. Let's take up the next one is from Samir Theroth. What are the chances for 85 points for production of plant engineer? 233513 is the ENSCO code. Would this be below the engineering technologist at 85 points? Well, both production of plant engineer and engineering technologists have similar chances. So if you already have the positive skills assessment for production of plant engineer and you have 85 points, so you should stay hopeful, but obviously it depends. It varies from state to state. If you're talking about the Queensland, then production of plant engineer has better chances, and if you're talking about Victoria or NSW, then the engineering technologist might be getting the invite first for 85 points. Let's take up the next one. It's from Yahya. Yahya is asking, once my assessment is positive in project administrator with 8.5 years of experience and bachelor in commerce, how many points will be assessed, cut off? Can I leave my job and visit Sydney? So project administrator, if you have 8.5 years of experience and bachelor in commerce. So since your education is not highly relevant to the nominated occupation, then VETSS might be deducting around 3 years of experience from your total 8.5 years of experience. And ultimately, you will be getting 5 to 8 years of experience bracket for your points contribution in the EOI. Let's take up the next one. Is from Himanshi. Any benefit for 7 year experience after ACS 4 year deduction? What will be the changes for software engineer? Any changes in age scores? Well, we have already discussed about this, that they might be coming up with the change in the age scores, and change in the age scores can happen in a way that they might be introducing more slabs from 30 to 45 as compared. Currently there are only two slabs. From 33 to 39 they have a single slab, so they might be breaking it down more. So let's take up the next one. This is from Bandari, marketing specialist at 80 for 491. I think we have already discussed that for marketing specialist, you need to have 80 or 85 points for 190 and 90 or 95 points for 491 for better chances of invite in the next FY. Next one is from CSS with Fariha. Sir, my age is 30 and I have just applied for ACS. What would be the changes for me in future with respect to the point system? Well, you already have the peak age points currently, which are 30. So you should be on the safe end, to be honest. So currently you should just continue your skills assessment process for the ACS and just submit your UI as per the existing system. You do not need to wait and worry about any changes in the existing in the EOI points test. So whatever changes will be there, I hope and wish that it will be safer for you, because your age is already at the peak age points which Australia is looking for, as per their draft, that they have clearly mentioned that they are looking for young professionals having experience in the nominated occupation. Now let's take up the next one. Is from the Evolve and Inspire. Submitting partners IELTS results during EOI is sufficient, or there is some other requirement to claim partner points? Well, we already have a video about how to claim partner points in our YouTube channel library, which you can watch, how to claim partner points. And it's simple, that for 5 points of English, you need to have competent level English of your partner. And for another 5 points, your partner must be having a positive skills assessment for the nominated occupation. Now, let's take up the next one. Is from Savanthi Reddy. What are the chances for a decrease in processing time for 190 visa is reduced for 491 already? Well, it's a very good question. So currently the 190 and 491 or even 189 all are taking around 12 to 14 months of time for their processing. 491, they have a specific target to reduce the visa processing time of the regional visas. So uh, I think an improvement in the 190 visa processing time as well. So it will be reduced by the second quarter of the next financial year, hopefully. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Zuhaib Clark. In the past, we have seen that longer experience, superior English, and skilled partner was the selection criteria for selecting the EOIs. Whether it will change in the future or not, well, I believe what Australia wants is that they want to build a consensus among all the parties, which include the industry and the government and the unions and the market demands. So what they are looking for is that they are trying to create a fair balance between experience, English, age, and education. So the longer the experience, obviously the age will be more as well. So what they want to do is they want to create a sweet spot of age and experience and education points. And also they are looking to they are looking to rethink the points contribution criteria of professional year program, study in original Australia, and the NATI 5 points. So we let's see. Let's see how it comes up. Let's take up the next one. It's from Samir. Samir Therath is asking, what are the chances for production and plant engineer at 85 points with compare? I think we have already discussed about the comparison of production of plant engineer with engineering technology. So, for Queensland is one of the states which prefer your production plant engineer, whereas engineering technologist occupation is being preferred by New South Wales and Victoria. So let's take up the next one is from Mohammed Sharjeel. How would they reduce overall quota of immigration? Well, I don't think they will be reducing the overall quota of the immigration. I think they might be reducing the quota of the temporary and work visas. So let's see how they come up with with let's see how they come up with their budget in the next month. Hopefully, in the next month, by the end of the May, there will be a budget in which all these topics are being discussed. We will be discussing at the last 10 minutes of this session today, that how the EOI points test changes can impact someone who is already in the process of skills assessment and who is in the process of submitting the EOI, the people who have already submitted the EOI and the people who have already lodged the visas. We will be discussing about this at the end of the today's live session. I hope you guys will stay tuned till that, and we will be providing you good update and about this topic. So stay tuned till the end of the session. I hope everything will be working fine till then. So let's take up the next one is from Mizanur. It's from Mizanur Rahman. Marketing specialist at 80 points for 491, NSW RDA offshore visa lodgement in 19th January 2023. How long does it take to get done? So on 19th June 2023, you have lodged your visa. So we can see, okay, so marketing specialist, you can expect a visa of your RDA NSW stream for 491 in the month of July. So what happens is that in the month of June, there might be a silent period for the visa processing, but we are not sure about that. But you can expect your visa grant in the month of July. So let's take up the next one. What are the known priority occupations for 189? So currently, the known priority occupations for 189 subclass are all the healthcare occupations and all the education related school teaching occupations. Now let's take up the next one. Is from it's from Benny. So the Benny is asking, I have heard chefs are not getting invited 80 points for 191 visa in Victoria. Well, there are a few chefs who have been invited at 85 or 90 points for 91 in Victoria. So it all depends upon your annual earnings as well in the Victoria ROI, not only the points. So you can check about that. Let's take up the next one is from Usama Aziz. Sir, kindly tell me about dentist. I am pharmacist with CAPS passed. What about dentist? How we can proceed and get dentist apply with initial assessment for visa, or she has to do with exam first? Well, you can explore about the dentist skills assessment. We have already covered this topic in our group as well. So maybe you can send a query in our group, post a query in our group that how to get the skills assessment done for the dentist. And for dentist as well, you will have to get registration, at least provisional registration with the AHPRA, and it has its own skills assessing authority of the Australian Dentist Authority, and you have to get your skills assessment first before getting started. So let's take up the next one. So next one is Kamran Akram. When RDA NSW 491 and 190 will reopen in 2024? Well, throughout the financial year of 2024, they haven't reopened the RDA stream of NSW 491. They only opened the NSW 491 onshore pathway stream, which is all about the people who are working in NSW in regional area with the regional based NSW employers. So we are not sure whether they will be continuing it in this financial year. Maybe they will reintroduce in the next financial year. Let's take up the next one is from Mohammad Sharjeel Aslam. Is there more chances for RDA rather than normal EOI? Well, yes, the chances for RDA has always been there, because in the RDA pathway, what happens is that NSW reduces the merit of the selection points. So NSW RDA 491 uh, can give you a direct advantage of getting the nomination from the state, because it is like it doesn't go through the pre-invite stage. It directly gives you the final invite. So yes, but it all depends whether they will open it for offshore or not this year. What is ROI? Please advise. Is it required for 191, 180? Well, we have already covered in our group that there are 4 states which require additional application in addition to the EOI. So Victoria requires an ROI. Northern Territory requires a nomination application. South Australia requires an ROI if you are eligible for any of their special streams or pathways. And similarly, ACT requires the Canberra matrix for their 190 and 491. So now let's take up the next one is from Crazy Universe. Will there be score of NATI? What are the bigger changes coming in? Possibility for environmental engineer. Well, we have already discussed that they might be abolishing the criteria of NATI, but obviously they will be announcing a cut-off date after which the NATI points will not be contributed, or the existing NATI test takers must be getting the points. This is as per our experience of the Australia immigration system. So now let's take up the next one is from Oma Payomali. I am a chef living in regional Western Australia. I have initially submitted my EOI in last November and I updated in last month with extra 10 points. I have 70 points for 189 and 75 points for 190. Any chances for 91? Well, Western Australia do prefer the hospitality and tourism sector in occupation. So you definitely have a chance for 491 at 70 plus 15 points for 491. So you should stay hopeful for that in the next financial year when they will be opening, most probably from the month of August. The next one is from Muhammad Ali Mehman. Sir, I have heard about no new vacancy being announced for pharmacists. Is it right, or is it just a speculation being circulated by unsuccessful candidates? Well, we have seen in the recent invitation rounds throughout the year that the retail and hospital and the industry pharmacists and similarly pharmacy technicians pharmacy aren't getting the invites much as compared to the last financial year. This occupation has been in priority in the last financial year, but this in this financial year, they have been inviting the allied health professionals. They have been inviting the nurses, registered nurses, but for the pharmacists, this year hasn't been good. So we hope that for the pharmacists, the next year would be better. Let's take up the next one is from Shagufta Zahra. Chances of retail pharmacists with 80 points for 190 and 85 points for 191. Well, 80 points for 190 and 85 points for 191 are not bad. So you should stay hopeful regarding the chances of getting an invite for retail pharmacists. But if you can improve your points by 5 or 10, then your chances would be better for the next financial year. So now let's take up the next one. It's from Sean Ali. What happened to 189 remaining allocation? So this is how it's done. So what happens is that typically the 189, the whole planning level quota of the 189, which is around 30,000 for this financial year, is being used to also process the visas of 189 which were invited in the previous financial year. So this is how it happens. They have conducted a round of 8,300 places in this financial year for 189, and they had a backlog to process the visas of 189 from the previous financial year as well, because in the previous financial year they conducted a round of 35,000 places for the 189. So I think they will be able to use the quota for all the 189 lodged visas of previous financial year and this financial year. So we cannot do anything about that. This is as per their standard criteria. And also, they might be conducting another round in the month of May, but we will see about that. The next question is from Anam Riaz. Is early childhood education teacher good for men for PR? Well, early childhood education teacher is good for anyone because it's like a very, very high priority occupation in when we talk about Australian immigration system and all the states who have been inviting. So there have been a shortage of early childhood teachers in Australia for men, women both. So definitely it's a good pathway for PR. So now let's take up the next one. It's from Sachintha Rathnayake. What are the chances of an electrical engineer? Um, so good chances of electrical engineers start from 85 points for 190 and 95 points for 191, as we have been discussing about it in the group as well. And the preferable states for electrical engineers are NSW, Victoria, Queensland, and also Western Australia. So you should definitely submit your EOIs if you have like good points for electrical engineer occupation. The next one is from Mohammad Sharjeel Aslam. Are they not granting enough invites for NEC and 244711 and 244712 management consultant? Well, yes, we have seen that the management consultants haven't been getting the invites recently. So if you have a chance to get your skills assessment done for any other occupation as per your work experience or education profile, you can think about it, but also keep this skills assessment active for the next financial year, though. So all depends upon the priority sectors and the preferences and the immigration changes which are coming up over the next financial year. There are many factors which could play their role with respect to the invitation program. So let's take up the next one is from Himanshi Khanna. What is the start of next financial year when draw started? So the next financial year starts from the month of July, and typically the draws start from the month of August, because in the month of July they start preparing all the back end activities. Now let's take up the next one is from Gugu. Will the new point system be more likely kicked in next FY? Is this the reason they reduce the seats and invitations for the time being, as the outcome is not contributing to Australia business at all? Yes, as we have discussed at the start of our today's session, that the new points test system is only required to fulfill the purpose of economy of Australia, where uh, where there is still a shortage even after inviting so many candidates in the last financial year. So what Australia is struggling with is the right people at the right time for the right jobs. So what they will be doing is that they will be changing the points test criteria in a way so that it can be more suitable for both the intending migrants and the Australian economy. Now let's take up the next one is from Sean Ali. Engineering technologies preferred states. We already covered this, that the engineering technologies preferred states are Victoria and NSW. So next one is from Sami Sumi. If the applicant did not claim points for employment in the visa application, will the DOHA request and check the documents that the applicant uploaded? If you haven't claimed any employment points, then they will not be asking you for the employment documentation or evidence. So you, even if you will submit, this will not be considered. So it's okay if you want to submit the employment documents when there are no points claimed against your employment. So let's take up the next one. The next one is from Sachintha Ratnayake. Dear Mr. Umar, what are the chances of an electrical engineer who is having more 5 years of experience and assessed his experience from skills from Engineering Australia? So 80 points for 491 are not good enough for electrical engineers. As we have already discussed, that you should have more than 90 points for electrical engineers, better chances of invite. So focus on improving your points. Otherwise, there is a lot of competition there in the skill select EOI pool right now. So for engineering occupations, for sure. So next one is from Nandi. I am a metallurgist, 39 years old, processing 482 for Tasmania. Is there any possibility for PR with 70 points? So um, uh, metallurgist is not a high priority occupation, as you must know. So it all depends upon your EOI points. So if you have like more than 85 points, I'm talking about 90 points for metallurgist for 190 or 491, then you might have a chance. And also, since you are processing your 482 for Tasmania, you should focus on employer-sponsored stream, and ultimately you should focus on employer-sponsored pathway towards the PR, which is Employer Nomination Scheme 186. In the future, you might be converted from your 482 to skills in demand visa, either through CSOL list or essential skills pathway or the specialist skills pathway. But your pathway of PR will be through employer-sponsored as per your occupation's condition. Now let's take up the next one is from Haris Ahmed. Currently, I have 85 points for 190 as civil engineer. Will go up to 90 points in June as work experience will cross 5-year mark. Should I go for CPM assessment or just wait as in civil engineer? So you need to understand one thing, that the civil engineer is one of the most highly competitive occupations throughout the system. We are talking about civil engineer. There are like thousands of EOIs waiting at 85, 90, 95 points for an invite. So you should definitely go for CPM assessment from VETSS if your work experience is related and you can get the assessment as per their criteria. Then definitely go for CPM. We have seen people getting the invites as CPM at even at 75 or 80 points for 190. Let's take up the next from. It's from Johir Masood. I have got 80 points for 189, 75 for 190, and 85 for 491 occupation chef NSW. Is there any chance? So this is about the chef. As we have already discussed that chef and cook are such occupations which are having priority in Victoria and Western Australia. When we talk about NSW, the chances of invite are low for NSW. But if you have, you can expect an invite of 491 at 85 points, but there would be very, very low chances for 189 and 190, because chef is also an occupation which like a lot of EOIs are there in the system for chef and cook. So you can try for another 5 or 10 points if you can. Now let's take up the next one. Can we apply SC 500 masters while being onshore on SC 476? So Sabhi Akmal, basically you cannot apply for a student visa while you are on a 476 visa, because 476 visa is also a temporary graduate visa. It's similar to 485. So they are not allowing the student visa applications from an onshore applicant who are either on 476 or 485 or any temporary graduate visa, because they want the genuine students who are coming in Australia for study purpose only from offshore for higher education, and then they either contribute towards the economy of the Australia through work visa or they go back to their country. Next one is from Saira Afandi. Which states require ROI for offshore 491? Pharmacy technician. So we have already discussed that your first step is to check which states in the skilled occupation list of which states your occupation is listed. Number two, you can follow our post in the group where we have mentioned that there are 4 states which require additional applications in addition to the EOI. Number 1 is Victoria, number 2 is South Australia, number 3 is ACT, and number 4 is Northern Territory. All other states require only EOI for offshore applicants. Now let's take up the next one is from Clark Brown. Sir, I am an accountant with nearly 9 years of experience, but I only have 58 for PTE. But if I begin the process now and redo PTE in July, would I fall under the new or current process? Well, we do not know exactly when the new EOI points test system will be implemented and active. We think that it will take a few months for department to get it implemented completely, including the IT systems upgrade. So you can submit your UI anytime, even today or even in July, after after improving your points. And whatever will happen with existing applicants who have already submitted the UIs, you will also be treated in the same way. Most probably they will be upgrading all the UIs together through the IT systems, or they can ask for resubmission of the UI, but the chances for that are low. So let's take up the next one. It's from it is from Dilpreet Singh. What are the chances of mechanical engineer technician in Western Australia? Well, Western Australia, there are like good in trade occupations. So good chances if you have if your points are good for sure. So let's take up the next one is from Himanshi Khanna. Sir, can you please reply for me question? What are the chances for software engineer 85 points over 189, 190 next FY, but rise in next FY starts? So the draws for next FY will start from August, but obviously it varies from state to state. Some states start from August. Victoria started in September last year. We do not know whether they will start in the month of September this year as well. But the chances for software engineers at 85 points for 189 and 85 plus 5 points for the 190 are very good. So you should stay hopeful. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Gopal Vadhera. Gopal Vadhera is asking, I have lodged DOI and paid 330 for ROI for 491 visa. Do I need to do something else also? No. I believe I'm not sure which state you are asking about, but since you have already paid $330 for your nomination application, for your 491 visa nomination application, then you do not need to do anything. You just need to wait for your final invite. And after receiving the final invite, you will have 60 days to lodge your 491 visa. You do not need to go for any other application until you receive the final invite. We have already touched upon the RDA in our previous questions. Next, let's take up the next one is from Evolve and Inspire. Which states have more chances for lecturer electrical engineering positions? So I believe you're talking about two occupations. So the one is university lecturer and one is electrical engineer. So we have already touched upon the electrical engineer bit, that it has good chances of invite from NSW in Victoria and Queensland and Western Australia. But when we talk about university lecturer, again, your NSW and Victoria are like preferable states because they always have a higher demand for almost all of the occupations and they have higher allocations as well each year. So you should stay focused towards these two states. But if you are an offshore applicant, you should submit your EOIs for all of the states. Now let's take up the next one is from Ayaz Hussain. Which childhood program should be taken up in Pakistan? Both AMI, LMI are being offered. I'm not sure which programs you are talking about, but if it is an early childhood education program and they are giving you the degree certificate and transcript and 45 days supervised teaching practice certificate as part of their transcript, as part of their offering, then you can go with that because the relevant assessing authority of the school teaching occupations is AITSL, which will require from you the degree, transcript, and 45 days supervised teaching practice certificate. So these three things, if the institute is offering and the institute is a recognized institute of Pakistan, then you can go for it. The next one is from Clark Brown. Is the assessment score of 85 points good enough for the finance manager and accountant occupation? Yes, it depends. So if you're talking about 85 points for 190, yes, these are good enough. If you're talking about 85 points for 491, then these are not good enough for the accounting and the financial professions. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Namal. What is the chance for com with 75 points, 85 points in next FY experience English? What is the chance for com? I'm not sure. Can you resend your question with the exact occupation you're talking about? Now, in the meantime, we are taking the next one is from Bilal Sabswari. Minimum points threshold for civil engineers as per superior English, including spouse language points. Well, we have already discussed, civil engineer is a very, very highly competitive occupation. So if you can accumulate 90 points for 190 and 95 points for 491, then you have a good chance of invite. Even you have a fair chance of invite at 85 points for 190. Now let's take up the next one. It is from Kishan. What are the chances of network security specialist with 95 points for NSW 491 this FY pathway 2? So you are talking about the invitation only pathway for NSW for 491. Well, 95 points are good enough, but the occupation of network security specialist is not being invited in this FY. Maybe you can think about any other occupation as well. If like an ICT support engineer or network analyst, you can see which occupations you can go for. If you can go for another skills assessment application from ACS to get more ENSCO occupations to apply for NSW 491, because NSW will allow you to submit multiple EYs for different occupations. So as we are at the mid of our today's live session. So just stay tuned till the end of the session, because we will be talking about the impact of the upcoming EOI points test system changes on the people who have already lodged their visas, and the people who have already submitted their EOIs, and the people who are preparing to submit their EOIs. So we will be talking greatly about the impact analysis, as we have done based on our experience and based on the anticipations. So stay tuned till the end of the session. You can invite your friends and colleagues who are interested in this topic in the live session, because it's going to be important information for you guys for the next financial year's nomination program of the Australia immigration. So let's take up the next question. We will continue with the questions. So next one is from Saira Afandi. Effendi, chances for pharmacy technician offshore. I think we have already covered the chances of pharmacy technician question. Audiologist chances with 70 points of 189 EOI submitted 2 months back. So Vijay Lakshmi is asking the chances of audiologist. So audiologist is one of the top priority occupations, as it is part of the medical and healthcare sector. We saw the invitation of 189 for audiologist at 65 points in the last round, which was held in December 2023. So you should stay hopeful. If you have submitted an EOI earlier, then you should stay hopeful at 70 points for 189. But obviously you submitted 2 months back, so you can stay hopeful to have an invite either in the month of May, if they will conduct a round of 189, else in the month of December later this year. But all depends when they will be conducting a round. But audiologist is a very good occupation to have for a chance towards the PR. Now let's take up the next one is from Evolve and Inspire. Are there any specific dates or months which are more suitable for EOI submission and others? No, there are no specific dates or months when you should be submitting your EOI. You can and you should submit your EOI as soon as you are ready with your prerequisites, including your positive skills assessment and your English language scores. Now let's take up the next one is from CSS with Fariha. Sir, what should those people do who have just begun the process of immigration at the age of 30 with respect to the new point system? I have just submitted my document on ACS as software engineer. I think we have already covered your question earlier as well, that you should not stop your process. You should you should continue your process of getting your positive skills assessment from ACS, and also your English language proficiency result. Once you are ready, you should immediately submit your EOI, since your age is 30, which is like the peak age already. So even in the new points test system, you will be getting the peak age points. You should stay focused towards your plan towards the immigration, because whatever changes will be coming up, the changes will create a balance for Australia's industry needs as well as the immigrants, because they need immigrants. Obviously, they cannot block the immigrants through the new EOI points system. They will be improving the system in a way that no one can get added advantage. For example, we were talking about the NATI points test. We were talking about the study in regional area. We were talking about the professional year. Now, as you know that for ACS skills assessment, if you have 1 year of professional year program, that can substitute the 2 years core IT experience requirement of ACS skills assessment. So as per Australian Department of Home Affairs, they think that the professional year cannot be equated to a 2 years of experience of core IT as per the nominated occupation. So they want to create a balance from between onshore, offshore, different criteria, so that it can better contribute towards the skills they need in the future. Now let's take up the next one is from Kishan. Is there any changes for ACT metrics next FY? Well, as far as we know, there have been no changes with respect to the Canberra metrics requirements for ACT in the next FY. The Canberra metrics is running as in the current FY. So now let's take up the next one is from Boss Sophia. Is 65 points for recruitment consultant got a positive chance for invitation? No, to be honest, the 65 points are not enough for recruitment consultant occupation. Already the recruitment consultant is not a high priority occupation. So the good chances of invite you can expect from 80 or more points for recruitment consultant in the next FY. Now let's take up the next one is from Yahya Javed Ahmed. Any guidance or upcoming videos to find employers with 482 visa sponsorship? Where can we find customized C format CV and cover letter for applying for jobs, and any portal you would recommend? So we are talking about the 482 visa sponsorship. So the best portals, you already know about the best portals, as we have already been discussing about this in our group as well, that you need to find a job through the online job portal, through your network, through LinkedIn. We cannot provide any services regarding finding the sponsor. So what currently is happening is that as part of the changes with respect to the new skills in demand visa, which is upcoming in the next FY, you can expect that they might be introducing a registered of eligible and register of eligible sponsors who can sponsor an offshore and onshore applicant for 482 or in future for skills in demand visa. Since they might be coming up with a list of such employers in Australia who can sponsor and who are willing to obviously offer the jobs, we will be talking about it in our group, and we will be recording a video once the list of eligible sponsors of Australia is out. And obviously, when we talk about the documents, so this format, there is no specific format of CV and the cover letter. So you can use your existing formats. The content matters, not the format in this case, for your online jobs. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Evolve and Inspire for a lecturer position with positive skills assessment. Which visa is best suited for me? Now it all depends upon your EOI points, to be honest. So if you have like more than 80 points, then you can try for 190. If you have less than 80 points, then you can try for 491 from the eligible states. Now let's take up the next one. It is from Muhammad Tayyab Khan. What is procedure for including experience to claim points if we haven't done it already in skill assessment? Now, a few assessing authorities do not require the experience assessment as a mandatory criteria to give you positive skills assessment. For example, engineers Australia do not require, but vet assess requires. Similarly, a few other occupations like school teachers, they can get the assessment only based on the qualification from AITSL. Now, in such cases, when you do not get the experience assessed from the relevant assessing authority, you need to have all the required documents which are otherwise required by the assessing authorities. Typically, the assessing authorities offer the optional skilled employment assessment. You can check the documents which are required by such assessing authorities, and you have to submit the same set of documents even if you have not done the skills assessment from the assessment authority. You can submit the same set of documents at the nomination and visa lodgement state after you have received the pre-invite in order to claim your experience points. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Mohit. I applied UI for ICT security specialist in NSW 190 at 100 points and 189 at 95 points. What are the chances of me getting an invite in next? You have got great chances of invite. Your occupation is also top 5 occupations of the ICT sector. We are talking about the ICT security specialist. Your points are 100 points for 95 at for NSW 190. So you should stay hopeful for an invite in early next FY. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Dhana Lakshmi for accounting job profile. Will we get PR for 75 points? No, to be honest, the accountant general is a highly competitive occupation and people are waiting at 85 points. So it's very difficult to get a chance of PR invitation at 70 points. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Gugu. I am civil engineer, 85 points offshore, 10 years experience, age of 32, proficient English with same skilled partner, lodged EY in August 23 and not get invited. Should wait invitation next or go for master degree? Well, 85 points are obviously good. We are talking about civil engineer. So we already discussed about this, that if you see the skill select EOI dashboard, you will see that there are thousands of EOIs waiting for an invite at 85 and 90 and 95 points for 190 we are talking about. Either you can improve your English language scores to 20 and you can reach up to 95 points to beat some of the competition for civil engineering occupations EOIs. Otherwise, the chances to get an invite for 85 points will remain fair. It can take longer time because there will be a lot of people who will be getting the invite earlier than you. And similarly, if you want to go for the master's degree, that can be also be a good pathway towards the PR, because once you will get your master's degree, you are 32 years of age. You will be applying for a 485 visa before 45 before getting 36 years old. So your you can have additional points from master's degree as well, and then you will have a chance to work in Australia as well and gain more points. So maybe you can do both parallel while waiting for your invitation. You can go for the master's degree as well if you want to pursue any of the relevant courses. Now let's take up the next one is from Supriya Sharma. I have applied 491 on 1 March 24 for NSW. When can I expect visa? How long it may take? Is there any chance to do police verification and medical again during the process? Well, you applied just last month your 491 visa. So I believe as the next financial year will pass, the processing time will be improving. So, but still, you should be expecting to get the grant in 12 months from the lodgement date. And during the processing, obviously, the police verification can expire, medicals can expire because both are valid for only 1 year. So they can ask you to renew your medical examination, and for that purpose, they will be giving you a new HAP ID. Until then, you do not need to do anything with respect to your medical examination renewable. However, you can renew your PCC once expired after 12 months. Let's take up the next one. This is from Heshor Kumar. Chances for offshore single applicant of computer network and systems engineer with 90 points for 190. Well, your points are very good, to be honest. And Victoria has been inviting this occupation. We have seen the invites of computer network and systems engineer from Victoria. Now, you are offshore and your 90 points are good enough for Victoria 190 for computer network and systems engineer, but you should also submit the UIs for all other states where your occupation is listed. You should not only rely on Victoria. Next one is from Vignesh. How long it takes for receiving grant for Victoria 190? I'll apply for PR on 31st of May 2023. Well, since now the financial year is going to close in a couple of months, most probably they will be consuming all the quota of the planning level for 190 in till May. So right now they are processing the visas. They are processing the visas lodged in the month of April. They haven't reached till the month of May. We are talking about the non-priority occupations visas. So you can expect to receive the grant for your Victoria 190 visa if your occupation is a non-priority occupation by July, not before that, because they are still at the start of the April, and the financial year is going to close. So both factors can play their role. Now let's take up the next one is from Muhammad Tawfiq. In Jobs and Skills Australia, it shows retail pharmacist occupation is strongest over all states, but any states not inviting any pharmacists since last July. Please explain. Thanks. Well, we have already discussed this topic that last financial year, a lot of pharmacists were invited. This financial year, we haven't seen much invites for the pharmacists. We saw a few invites for retail pharmacists, but at very higher points. We saw a few. We didn't see any invites for industrial pharmacists and hospital pharmacists and pharmacy technicians in this financial year. But yes, you are right that this occupation is in shortage in many states as per the Jobs and Skills Australia data. However, we are hoping that the invitations for the pharmacists will resume in the next FY. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Hafiz Afaq. Please tell what are the chances of engineering technologist and quality manager in Victoria or regional Victoria at 85 points for quality manager and 80 points in engineering technologist for 190. 80 points for 190 for engineering technologist would be tough. 85 points would be good. But we are talking about the quality manager. So quality manager, the points could be good. So you can expect the invited 85 points for quality manager, and if there could be 5 extra points for both occupations, then both occupations are good to go. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Faizan Rauf. 190 visa lodged in March 24 for marketing specialist. Given grant time is approximately 12 months, can I expect visa grant time to reduce since new visa lodgement would be low due to the reduced quota in this FY? Yes, we have already discussed about this, that the visa processing time is expected to reduce across the next financial year. Not now, across the next financial year. So you might be getting your visa under 12 months. It is possible. Now let's take up the next one. It is from Altitude 91. How is the competition for engineering technologists, and how was the pool acceptance in the last round. I have 85 points for 191 and 75 points for 190. Well, if we talk about competition, we have already discussed that the engineering technologist is a good occupation as compared to a few other professional engineering occupations. However, there is still competition in the engineering technologist. So if you have 85 points for 491, you have got fair chances. But for at 75 points, at 80 points for 190, the chances would be low. Now let's take up the next one is from Namal. What is the chance of CPM with 75 points and 85 points for 491 in next step point? Well, we have already discussed CPM is a good occupation to have. You have good chances at 75 and 85 points for 1491. Sabi Akmal is asking, how can we get positive skill assessment for engineering technologies if we don't have any work experience in the field? Well, this is a good question. If you do not have any work experience which can be related to the engineering technology standard role, then it will not be possible to get the skills assessment from Engineers Australia for your engineering technologist occupation code. Well, you if you have done any academic projects during your professional engineering degree during your last year or second last year, you can use those academic projects experience if those are related to engineering technologies, because you will have to go through the CDR pathway, and in the CDR pathway you have to write the career episodes, and each career episode can be related to each of your projects which are related to engineering technologist occupation, so you can explore about that. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Evolve and Inspire. Submitting EY without IELTS with wet assess positive skill assessment is possible or not? Well, obviously it's just a form. It's just an expression of interest. You can submit the form, but it's not ethical for you to submit the EY without completing your prerequisites. We are talking about both prerequisites, positive skills assessment and English language proficiency scorecard. Now let's take up the next one is from Nandi. We got a 482 visa sponsorship for Tasmania. We are going to bring two kids. Whether the school fees is exempted for 482 in Tasmania? No, for 482 the school fee will not be exempted. School fee is only exempted for the skilled migration visa categories. And also it depends upon state to state. Some states do offer, so you can check from your Tasmanian state office. And also it depends upon the age of the kids and the school level of the kids. So you can discuss all this by sending an email to the Tasmania office or calling them. They will be quickly guiding you about the state's own criteria for this purpose. Now let's take up the next one. And the next one is from Hamda Aslam. I am a pharmacist with superior English and 3 years of experience. Claimed 80 points for 190 and 85 points for 491. My husband is software engineer having proficient English and 8 years of experience. He claimed 80 points for 190 and 85 points for 491. Who would be primary applicant in one case? In our case, well, you both can be primary applicants in your own cases. You can submit your EOI separately as primary applicant, and your husband can submit your EOI his EOI separately as primary applicant, while claiming the partner points for each other. Now, how to claim the partner points? You can watch our video in the YouTube channel, which is all about how to claim partner points, and there are some rules which apply with respect to the occupations in different occupations list. However, submitting an EOI is not a showstopper. You can submit the EOI separately, and your husband can submit the EOI separately if both of you have the positive skills assessment and the English language score. And you can maximize your chances as a family together by submitting the separate EOIs. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Muhammad Mahmoudun Nabi. Sir, what are the chances for agricultural consultant offshore applicant? As we have already discussed that the agricultural consultants, engineers, and scientists aren't being invited. We haven't seen much invites in this financial year. We hope that the next financial year would be good for agricultural sector occupations as well as the pharmacy sector occupations. These two have been struggling in this financial year. Now your points are 85 for 491, so I believe you can have like additional 10 points from anywhere. You're talking about 25 plus 15 plus 20 plus 10 points. So I'm not sure about your partner points, so maybe you can gain some extra points from your partner. Otherwise, you can expect a possible chance at 85 points for 491. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Clark Brown. What are the best states for accountants and finance managers to apply to under 190 and 491? Well, we have seen invitations of accountants from Victoria and from NSW and from Queensland. You can just check whether you are eligible for Queensland or not, because they have a specific experience requirement to apply for the EOI and their nomination program. And you can also go ahead with the Canberra matrix of ACT for your occupation. As an offshore applicant, you can submit the EOIs and the additional applications for all the states where your occupation is listed in there as well. You do not need to shortlist the states even if your occupation is eligible for all the states. Next one is from Ray's. What are the chances of an accountant with 80 points? I think we have already discussed that the accountant is a highly, highly competitive occupation, same as civil engineer in the engineering in the engineering list. Well, if you have 80 points base points, and we are talking about 80 plus 5 points and 80 plus 15 points for 491, then you have got good chances. However, with 80 points for 491 or 190, the chances would be low because of the competition. Now let's take up the next one. The next one is from Sibi Varghese. What is Canberra as a, how is Canberra as a state? Is it worth migrating in 491? Well, Canberra is their capital territory. So obviously it's a good area to live in, to work in, but most of the occupations in, or most of the jobs which are in Canberra are related to corporate sectors, not like the engineering industry or hardcore skills industry. It's more about the soft skills industry. All the corporate offices are there, and obviously it's a beautiful place, and you can think about exploring the option of getting 491 from Canberra, but all depends whether you will be eligible or you will be invited through the Canberra metrics. So you should not stop your plan to submit the Canberra metrics for 491 for a chance of invite. Now let's take up the next one is from Sumera. Sumera Fatima is asking chances for 41-year-old structural engineer having rich experience for 491 as per new point system. Well, we do not know that how the new points test system will be reacting to the 41 years of age. Obviously, they are thinking about introducing new slabs of ages from 30 to 45. So we do not know how it will be impacting your case. However, if you have good overall EOI points, you should stay hopeful. You should stay hopeful in a way that we have seen many people who have been invited and ultimately who got the visa at even 44 or 43 years of age. So it all depends upon your overall points and your occupation's priority. So currently, if you're talking about the structural engineer, we saw the invite of structural engineer in the last NSWs in this month, NSW's invitation round, where they invited a structural engineer at like 85 points for 190, and 95 points for 491 would be good for you. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Suhail Lakhani. I am 43 years old and currently working as a CFO with superior English skills. Overall score of 86 in PTE. Do I stand any chance in the new points system? Again, as I mentioned earlier, that we will see that how the age points will be impacting in the new points test system for your case. However, if your overall points are good enough and your occupation is in demand, you can still be hopeful in the next FY, even after the change in points test system. We will be talking in detail about the points test system at the end of the session as well, that how it can impact the people who are currently currently aspiring to migrate to Australia. And also we will be talking in detail about all the changes which will be coming up, the official news which will be coming up, and all the official words in our Facebook group. Now let's take up the next one. It's about it's from K Raj. What are the chances for motor mechanic? Well, we have seen the invitation of motor mechanic from Victoria and NSW both for 491. Well, it all depends upon your points now. So we have seen, like, if you have like 75 points, you have a good chance of getting an invite for motor mechanic. Next one is from Bilal Sabzwari. I'm a civil engineer. Any other course or training which could be done to increase points? If I do a fitness nutrition related training course, when will that increase my points? Well, you already have a bachelor level occupation, bachelor level education. If you are thinking to upskill yourself in order to get more points in the EOI, then only the next step would be the PhD, because bachelor and master will be only giving you 15 points if you're talking about offshore education. A PhD can give you an extra 5 points. However, if you go to Australia for a post higher education stream, any higher education, if we're talking about masters, if you complete your master in like 1.5 years, then you can get extra 5 points. So this is how it works. But obviously currently, as per your current state, you cannot get any benefit or any points contribution from any short courses. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Tola. Well, how long does it take to get invitation from Northern Territory after the declaration form is filled? Well, Northern Territory works in a very different way as compared to the other states. They pre-invite you, then they give you then they again short select. So first step is to submit the EY, and then you submit the Northern Territory nomination application with a fee of $300. After which they give you a pre-invite, and that pre-invite is still not a guarantee that you will be getting the final invite. This is a different process from Northern Territory. So this is still possible that they can shortlist a limited number of pre-invited candidates, but right now they are closed. But obviously they will be opening in July, so you can expect anything after July from Northern Territory. Let's take up the next one. Is from Umair. If someone is living in Perth, what other states can apply for EY, ROI for 190 and 491? As I have already mentioned that if you are living in Perth, you are only eligible for the state where you are living, and for Western Australia, you can only submit the UI for 190 and 491 of Western Australia. Maximum what you can do is, if your occupation is related to the South Australia's highly skilled and talented stream, you can submit the ROI for South Australia as well, only if you are eligible for their highly skilled and talented stream. Otherwise, no. Now let's take up the next one. Next one is from Shema. Please advise me with state and my chances for nomination. Age of 35 turns 36 by next July. I'm afraid that my chances in nomination would be affected. Occupation internal auditor and with proficient English. Total points 80 for 491. So 80 points for 491 for internal auditor are not good enough, to be honest, as we have seen that it is also one of the competitive occupations. If you can get your skills assessment done as external auditor, obviously it depends upon your work experience profile, then that is a better occupation to have as compared to internal auditor. But 80 points for 491 would not be good enough for next FY, even before the change in the points test. So you can think about improving your points by 5 or 10 points if possible for you. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Swanthi Reddy. Is it true that all the visa applications from April to June will be carry forwarded to next FY? For example, if I lodge my visa in April 24, can I expect grant before July 25? I think we have discussed about this, that the visas which were lodged in April to June this year, or April to June last year, it depends how the global processing time of the visa category will be impacted across the next financial year. So you can still expect to receive your visa before July 25, because we expect and we are anticipating that the average processing time of both 190 and 491 and also 189 visas will be reduced across the next financial year. So stay hopeful and stay and keep expecting about that. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Ayaz. Now Ayaz is asking, is it true that all the visa applications, you have already answered it, but please shed some light on the submitting EOI without CDRs, mechanical engineers. Okay. So if you can obviously submit your EOI if you have done your positive skill assessment as mechanical engineer, but obviously you need positive skill assessment. I'm not sure. You can go ahead without CDR only if your university badge and your degree is eligible for any of their pathways. For example, if you are eligible for their Washington pathway, you can get your skills assessment done without CDR, and you can submit the EOI after getting the positive skills assessment. Next one is from Mohammed Sufyan. What will be the next FY allocation, especially for offshore non-priority occupations? Well, we do not know. We think that they will be maintaining the same planning levels for the general skilled migration visa categories in the next FY as well, at least. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Himanshi Khanna. What is the scope of insurance underwriter jobs for dependent applicant after going to Australia? Well, it's a good occupation. It's a good profession. This is something this industry is there to stay. So you can hope to get a job as an insurance underwriter in future. So good luck with that. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Sudhakar Reddy. I missed your connection. What are the chances for human resource advisor with 90 points for 491 with a skilled partner and high offshore experience and proficient English? Well, We are talking about human resource advisor. Now, human resource advisor, again, human resource manager and human resource advisor both have been struggling in this financial year. We saw the invitations in last financial years, but with 90 points at 491, you got good chances. 90 points are good enough for 491. Not in this financial year, but next financial year could be a good case for you. You can try to score superior level English if you can, to reach up to 100 points, because 100 points would be a very good chance for human resource advisor for 491 in the next FY. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Hafiz Afaq Salim Khan. You explained about quality manager and engineering technologist for 190. Can you please tell me, is it worth to go regional Victoria and one can stay in Victoria, or there are other states to move for this occupation? Engineering technologist is a good occupation for Victoria, both regional and metro. Other states, if you are exploring the option of other states, then for engineering technologists, NSW can be a good option. Quality manager has similar chances in both states. Engineering technologist has like equal chances in NSW and Victoria. All depends upon your points. So you can stay in regional Victoria, but Victoria has a specific criteria for onshore applicant, that they must have annual earnings to claim in the Victoria ROI, currently employed in skill level 1 to 3. Only then they give you the invite. Otherwise, without claiming any annual earning, it will be difficult to get an invite from Victoria. So in that perspective, you can think about moving to NSW to have a chance for their pathway to invite for their NSW 491. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Gugu. If I do masters in NSW, I can keep an 190 UI as NSW and WN 189. But if I do master in WA, I can keep WN 189, correct? Plus when invitation in next FY will be starting again. Yes, you are right. So only WA allows interstate application. So your question, you are assuming correctly. So in next FY, the nomination application, the invitations are expected to start from August. Now let's take up from the next question from Shahryar Mazhar. Will the new point system affect the new applicants, or it will affect the existing applicants too? Well, to get the answer of this question, stay tuned till the end of the session today. We will be talking about the impact analysis of the upcoming changes in the EOI points test on the existing and the new applicants in the last 5 minutes of our today's session. Okay, so we will take the next one. Is from Kaushalya. Have you seen any invitations related to sustainability related nominated skills occupation? Well, it depends upon the occupation. So a sustainability related occupation can be an engineer, it can be an environmental consultant, it can be an occupational health and safety advisor. It depends upon the exact occupation. But we have seen that sustainability related focus areas, or the people who have work experience related to sustainability or renewable energies, have been invited by South Australia, because South Australia is focusing on highly skilled and talented stream, and as part of the highly skilled and talented stream in their high tech and digital industry, the renewable energy and sustainability is part of their target. So you can think about it. You can explore the options of highly skilled and talented stream of South Australia for your occupation, if your occupation is eligible for that stream, and submit the EOI for South Australia. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Umair. I have 80 points for 190 and 85 points for 190 and 80 points for 189. What are my chances for business analyst and software development? Better chances for ICT business analyst at 85 points for 190, but not enough chances for software engineer, because again, as we are talking about civil engineers in the engineering occupations list, we are talking about accountants in the finance and accounting occupations list. Similarly, when we talk about software engineers in the IT sector occupations list, this is the most competitive occupation in the overall list. So I suggest you to go for ICT business analyst, and having 85 points for 190 will give you good chances for this occupation. Next one is from Ali. Can I do the assessment before taking the PTE? Well, it depends upon your occupation and the assessment authority's criteria. For example, Engineers Australia will ask you to have the PTE first, and then you can only apply for the skills assessment. Whereas VET assess do not require you to have PTE. ACS now is asking for the PTE as per their new migration skills assessment process. Similarly, every occupation has its own criteria of getting the skills assessment. You need to check which occupation you belong to and which assessing authority will do the assessment for your occupation. And only on the basis of the criteria, you need to decide whether you need to go for the PTE first or you need to go for the skills assessment first. But going for the PTE first will not harm in any case. You can go both in parallel, even if the skills assessment authority is not asking for the PTE. Now let's take up the next one. It is from Umair. What are best occupations for ICT in the recent draws? Well, we have seen the most invites for software engineer for sure, although it is the highly competitive occupation. So if someone having 90 or 95 points for 190, only you should then stay hopeful. Number two is the developer programmer. Number three is ICT business analyst. And number four is ICT security specialist. Number five could be considered a systems analyst. Number six could be considered computer network and systems engineer or ICT support engineer or network specialist. Now, top five are important who are getting the invites mostly during the invitation. So you can check whether you can be relevant to any of the top five occupations of ICT. Now let's take up the next one is from Raman Kaur. What are the chances of registered nurse 80 points for 189 in Canberra? Well, registered nurses are getting the invites even at 70 points. You already have 80 points for 189, so you should stay hopeful in the next 189 invitation round. Maybe you will be getting the invite for your registered nerd occupation. So it's a high priority occupation. Now let's take up the next one is from Amandeep Kaur. I just finished in June my master's in information systems and data scientist (NT) and booked by PY. I am over 35 years. Am I eligible to apply TR? Well, currently the new age limit of 35 years to apply for the PR is not implemented. All depends when you will be completing your course and when you will become eligible to apply for the TR. We are talking about 485 post-study work visa. We are expecting that from 1st July, the new age rule will be applied. So if you will be applying after 1st July, then it will be difficult for you to apply. Now, all depends. You can apply before getting 36 years of age. So until the end of 35, you are eligible to apply for the TR. Now let's take up the next one. It's from Shahryar Mazhar. How is South Australia state for electrical engineer? I have seen invites for 491 on 80 points from South Australia. Well, South Australia is a very good occupation for electrical engineers. It all depends whether your work experience profile is matching to any of the focus areas of their highly skilled and talented stream. Then you should definitely go for South Australia. Yes, we have seen invites of electrical engineers from South Australia through the highly skilled and talented stream or through working in South Australia stream for onshore applicants at points as low as 80 points for 491. So South Australia is a good state for electrical engineers and for any other technical occupations which could be related to highly skilled and talented stream. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Himanshi Khanna. What are the chances of software engineers 80 points? I think we have already discussed that. Good chances of invite for software engineers start from 90 points for 190 and 95 points for 491 and 85 points for 189. Below that, a lot of competition is there in software engineers EOIs. Let's take up the next one. How is Tasmania as a state? What is potential opportunities for software engineers? Well, it's a good state. You can explore all the job portals to see whether Tasmania is a good state for software engineers. Software engineer is such an occupation which is in shortage across the states in Australia. So you should stay hopeful. You can go explore about the website of the Tasmania and their skilled occupation list and their priorities and the recent how they have been treating the onshore and offshore applicants. So it's a good state for potential opportunities for software engineers. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Samoix. I am working in Brisbane for 4 months as procurement manager. I also have 4.5 years of offshore procurement manager. I am 27 years old and should I go for organizational and supply chain manager or procurement? Well, supply and there are two suitable occupations. As also, what will be the impact of new point system on my case of procurement or supply chain manager? There are two suitable occupations for your work experience profile, either supply and distribution manager or procurement specialist. Now you can also go for procurement manager, but all these occupations are not highly high priority occupations that you need to understand. If your total points are good enough, for example, if your points are like 85 or 90 points for 190, uh, then chances of getting an invite for procurement manager or for supply and distribution manager are there. However, less than that, it will be difficult for you to get an invite because these occupations are not in high demand as far as we are talking about this financial year. Next financial year could be different, and a few states can have this occupation in their priority sector. So stay tuned to understand about that in future. So we will be talking about the impact of the new points test system, as you have asked. At the end of today's live session, we will be talking about it in the last 5 minutes of today's live session before concluding our live session, that how it can impact the aspirants, intending migrants, and the people who have already lodged their visas and EOIs. Let's take up the next one. Is from Ken. Is from Dechan. Can one apply for PR before June, though the invitation is closed for the financial year? If you're asking about EOI, yes, you can submit the EOI anytime. There is no perfect time to submit the EOI. That now is the perfect time to submit the EOI. So you can submit the EOI for your occupation after getting prepared for all the prerequisites. And once you submit the EOI, you just need to make sure that your occupation is eligible for all the states, and submit your EOI for the states where your occupation is listed in their skilled occupation list, and then submit the EOI and wait for the invitation rounds from next FY. Now let's take up the next one. This is from uh, Tola Mustafa. How long does it take to get ITA from Northern Territory after pre-invite declaration format? I think I have already touched this topic, that Northern Territory takes a lot of time. They can shortlist even the pre-invited candidates, and they can even they do not guarantee the final invite even after pre-inviting. This is a different behavior of the state of the Northern Territory. So it can take like 6 weeks. It can take like 8 to 10 weeks as well. So you just need to wait for a possible reply from their side. But until then, you cannot do anything. You just need to wait for their final invite. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Samoix or Edits. Also, can I submit EY in New South Wales and Melbourne, as I am working and living in Brisbane? Procurement manager code was only applicable for 491, while for supply chain manager I can submit for 190. Yes, supply and distribution manager is the STSOL, and procurement manager is the ROL list occupation. While living in Brisbane, you can only submit the EOI for the state where you are residing in. You cannot submit the EOI for NSW and Victoria. However, you can submit the EOI for Western Australia 491 as procurement manager, because they allow the interstate applications. The next one is from Hafiz Afaq Salim Khan. I have lodged EOI for highly talented strain in February. Still didn't get any response. It proved or not? You can check your South Australia login on your portal, and you can see the current status of your ROI. If it says that your ROI has been submitted, then it's still eligible for the next invitation rounds. However, if it says that your ROI was not invited, then you need to resubmit the ROI with the changes if you have. Otherwise, you can just wait on your EOI for the South Australia invite. Next one is from Sabi Akmal. Chances of chemical engineer at 85 points for 190 and 95 points for 491. Would you recommend doing professional year in the next FY? Well, we are already talking about changes in the points test system, in which they are considering the replacement of the professional year program. So we do not know what will happen with the professional year program in the future. However, until the change in the points test, the professional year program, the points contribution criteria will remain as is in the EOI, which will be 5 points. Now, you can go for the professional year program, and it can help you to gain extra 5 points. However, your points of being a chemical engineer at 85 points are already good enough. Obviously, your occupation is not of high priority occupation. That's why you are not getting the invite. But you can try for professional year program. It will take like a few months for you to complete. And so I would suggest you to wait for a few weeks before getting to know about the new points test system, whether the professional year program will remain in it or not, before deciding about taking up the internship or course for the PY. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Yusra Khan. Industrial pharmacist single 85 points for 491 will be applying for EOI next month. What are the chances? Should I wait for next financial year? And when can I get married after application? Well, you should not wait to submit the EOI if you are ready. If your skills assessment is positive and you have got the English language test score, you have 85 points for 491, you should immediately submit your EOI without waiting for the next financial year. You should submit the EOI for all the states in which your occupation of industrial pharmacist is eligible. And regarding your marriage, you can if in the current EOI, you must have shown yourself as a single applicant. But if you will be invited on your current marital status EOI, then you will have to stay true as per the EOI status till the end of your visa grant. So if you want to get married, either get married before getting the pre-invite or after receiving the final visa grant. Otherwise, it will breach your visa conditions. Now, next one is from Sandresh. I'm a software engineer with 75 points for 189 as a scenario. After EY, if I quit my job and travel with my spouse as dependent to 482 visa, will it affect my eligibility? No, it will not affect. You just need to update your EOI with respect to your employment details, with respect to your location details. And once you are there as dependent visa onshore on your spouse 482 visa, then you can just change all the details in your UI and stay relevant and stay in the pool as an onshore applicant of your 189 EOI. Similarly, you can you can withdraw the EOIs for the states in which you will not be residing then. The next one is from Kishan. What are the chances for computer network and system engineers for 491 with 95 points in FY pathway 2? So you're talking about NSW pathway 2 for 491. 95 points are good enough. As we have already discussed that the computer network and systems engineer is part of the top 7 occupations of the ICT sector. So you should stay hopeful with this 895 points for 491 in the next FY. Now let's take up the next one is from Clark Brown. Is 70 plus 5 for subclass 190 and 70 plus 15 for 491 good enough for finance managers? I think we have already discussed that finance managers and accountant general, you need to have more than 85 points for any good chances of invite in the next FY for 190 and 491. These are not high in demand occupations as we speak, but obviously the next FY can bring more updates regarding the accountancy occupations. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Sange. If someone has lodged EOI and simultaneously apply for student visa, is it okay as per the immigration rules? Well, it is okay as per the immigration rules because you are just expressing your interest while also applying for a student visa. However, this can impact your student visa application because in the student visa application, you mention that you are a genuine student. You are not a PR aspirant. So in that case, it can impact your student visa and the chances of your student visa will be lower in case you have an EOI in the skill select system. And obviously they will see that you have an EOI for 189, 190 and 491 in the EOI skill select system. And you have already applied for student visa as well. So I would advise you to apply for the student visa, get the student visa granted based on all the requirements of the student visa, and then submit the EOI while you are onshore. Now let's take up the next one. This is from Vendor City Walks. Are there any more 190 rounds expected in this FY from any states? Yes, we are expecting like one more round from NSW. Victoria might conduct one more round, but we are not sure. Queensland and South Australia will keep on continuing the selection of EOIs from their pool, but we are not sure. Now let's take up the next one. Is from Clark Brown. My age would be 34 years. Will be an issue in the new point system. We will talk about it in the last 5 minutes of today's session. The next one is from Santa Scara. Are clinical psychologists in demand also after positive skill assessment by APS? Do I also need to go through the registration process before getting an invite? I am offshore. If you have got positive skills assessment from APS as clinical psychologist, then you are good to go to submit the UI and receive the nomination from the state or from 189, get the visa granted. Now, clinical psychologist is a very good occupation to have. It's one of the high priority occupations as it is part of the healthcare sector, and good chances of invite start from even at 70 or 75 points. So if you have 75 or 70 points for 189, then you have good chances of invite even for the 189. Good luck for that. Next one is from Michelle Hammond. What is the deadline to submit UI for this year? There is no deadline to submit the UI. UI can be submitted anytime. UI submission window is never closed. There are only deadline to submit the ROIs for different states. For example, Victoria has closed their ROI on 23rd of April. Similarly, Northern Territory is closed. South Australia is open for ROI, and similarly, the Canberra metric submission for the ACT is already open. Now, EOI can be submitted anytime. The next one is from Sudhakar Reddy. Now, the chances of for human resource advisor with 90 points for 491 with a skilled partner and high experience with proficient English. I think we have already discussed about the chances of a human resource advisor occupation. With skilled partner and high experience with proficient English, I think you just need to work on improving your English language points from proficient to superior. If you can improve your English language points to superior, then you have great chances of inviting 100 points for 491 for human resource advisor, because this is not a high priority occupation, as we have already discussed. This is not a high in demand occupation as per this financial year's analysis. We will be taking up two more questions before wrapping up today's session, because we have to discuss about the impact analysis of the upcoming new points test system on the people who are currently waiting for an invite, and on the people who are currently preparing for the EUIs, and also who are visa lodged people. So two more questions before wrapping up. This is from Dr. Pyara Singh and Sons. Hello sir, any chance for complimentary health therapist offshore 65 points for invitation? Well, again, your occupation is a high priority occupation. It's part of the healthcare sector, and you should definitely submit your EOI as soon as possible, and you can have a very, very good chance of invite from either for 189 by the federal government, or from the states like NSW and Victoria, who are like prioritizing the healthcare sectors. 65 points are like very bare minimum. You can try for another 5 or 10 points, and then you have a great chance of invite for health complementary health therapist as an offshore applicant. Now let's take up the last question for today's live question and answer session before wrapping in and before discussing about the impact analysis. This one is from Your Door. I have mentioned yesterday in my post that I should be selected for 80 points if I didn't secure a proficient PTE. Okay, so you are saying that at 80 points with proficient PTE, still there is a chance to get selected. Still there is a chance to get invited, but all depends upon your overall EOI points. Now, a few states like Victoria, they prefer superior level English, and they give invites only to superior level English, as we have seen in the recent invitation rounds. We are talking about the non-priority occupations. Whereas NSW, they give preference to the work experience. Higher the work experience, the more the chances, in addition to the overall EOI points. The other states, they do not bother much about the superior level English and higher work experience points. They focus on overall EOI points. For example, South Australia, Queensland, ACT, Northern Territory, Tasmania, Western Australia, they are giving the invites even with proficient level English and 5 or 10 points of work experience, or even no work experience at all. However, you need to still focus on improving your English language points to superior if you can, in order to improve your chances for your occupation while beating the competition, because you are competing with a lot of EOIs which are already in the pool for each of the states for your occupation. So that's my answer for you. So we are on time, and last 5 minutes we will be discussing about the impact of the new points test system on the people who are waiting for an invite, or who are currently in the process of submitting the EOI, or who are preparing to submit the EOI. For example, who have just started their journey. Uh, let's conclude this live information session in a way that we have seen that there is a draft of the review of the points test, and the discussion paper is released. Everyone has read about it, and we have already shared our analysis. We shared our analysis yesterday in our group, that what are the key takeaways of that review of the points test. Now, what will happen is that they will be taking the consultations till next month or 24th of May. Then they will be converting it into a bill to get it passed from the parliament, and then the ministry will approve it as per the changes which will be finalized by the by this department. Ultimately, in the month of July, or maybe by the end of June or in July, they will be announcing all the changes, and they will also be announcing a cutoff date after which the new points test system will be implemented. Until then, there will be a lot of effort which department will have to do, including the upgradations in their existing digital IT infrastructure. We are talking about the skill select. Currently, what you do is when you create your EOI account on the skill select, you submit the EOI. It has all the backend working in their system, and then their invitation round runs based on the pool of EOIs which they have in their system from the skill select data. They have to upgrade, they have to make a lot of changes even after passing the bill and even after announcing it as a legal legislative, because it's not a simple process to change a decade old system with respect to infrastructure, with respect to IT, with respect to the selection criteria, with respect to the human involvement. Now, obviously, the states will be involved, everyone will be involved. Ultimately, the changes will happen. So, we suggest the people who are currently the aspirants of Australia immigration, they should continue the process without waiting for anything. Submit your EOIs, clear your skills assessment, clear your English language points, improve your points, keep on continuing whatever you are doing, because ultimately it will help you in the new points test system as well. They are not going to abolish the English language test or the work experience. They are only planning to build a balance between age, maturity of work experience, education profile, and the English language skills and the partner skills. Now, we are expecting that they might be giving more points to partner skills and partners English language as per the slabs. They might be creating a balance between the onshore and offshore experience. They might be abolishing a few factors like study in regional Australia, NATI, or professional year, but every update is yet to be seen. However, it is anticipated based on our experience of Australian immigration process from like many years that whatever changes will be coming up, there will be a cutoff date after the changes will be implemented. And before the cutoff date, the people who have completed their professional years before that cutoff date, most probably they will be the points, or they will be having the points. They will retain the points. Similarly for the NATI and similarly for the study in regional Australia. The new EOI points test will definitely bring a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic in the system, but we are there to help you and to guide you through our platforms, through our YouTube channel, through our group, through our Facebook, Instagram profiles. So you should stay connected with us so that we can guide you. We can give you the information as the official news is broken. The people who have already lodged their visas, they do not need to worry about anything. Most probably, the financial year is closing, so the visa grants will be delayed by a couple of months. Maybe you will be getting the grants in total 12 to 14 months. But this is also expected to improve in the next coming financial year, as this financial year they were having less visas lodged. But for the people who are waiting for the invite and the people who are lodging their UIs, they just need to continue the process without waiting for anything, without worrying. We are there to guide you. So if there will be any change, or where there will be any impact, or there will be any requirement to update anything in your existing UI, we will be guiding you through new videos and new instructions and all the new posts in our group. So until then, you should stay hopeful, keep connected to us, and stay tuned. And you should follow and subscribe our YouTube channel so that you can watch all the latest videos. We are closing our live session today, and we will be coming up with the new live sessions in the month of May. We will be coming up with a new live information session and question and answer session. So stay tuned with our regular updates. We are excited that the changes will bring prosperity and positivity for the people who are waiting for an invite, and also the people who are waiting for their visas. Until then, until next month, stay tuned and good luck for your next steps.